Hey guys, good morning. I am just wrapping up a workout. Today we are going to do a bit of a fall reset, have a productive day, and I'm going to take you along with me. I'm going to wrap this up and then we'll head downstairs and make some breakfast. Good morning, princess. Look at this little baby. Oh, what a sweetie. I am feeling an apple crumble for breakfast, so we are going to make like a healthier one. I'm preheating the toaster oven to 350 on bake, so you can just use a normal oven too, but I'm gonna do this in a really small baking dish for just me and Jimmy. It does take a while to bake. I'll pop the recipe in the description box down below. So let's get started. I want the whole house to smell like fall right now. That is the goal. 1 tablespoon of water, 1 teaspoon of maple syrup, 1/2 teaspoon of both pumpkin pie spice and cinnamon. At this point, it's a good idea to taste test one of the apples and make sure that you like the cinnamon, the pumpkin spice, the maple syrup, and you don't want to add any more because we are about to start on the crumble topping. Perfect. Here's how we're looking so far. Now we're gonna add a little bit more cinnamon and pumpkin pie spice. This is all depending on your own taste. I want the fall vibes. I'm doing about 1/2 teaspoon of each. And we're gonna mix it up a little bit. We're gonna add a tiny pinch of salt, like 1/8 teaspoon. And then we will add maple syrup and coconut oil so that we can get this all to crumble together. So the consistency that you want here is for things to be sticking together a little bit like this. If it's not sticking together enough after you're mixing it, just add a bit more coconut oil. It's almost like when you're making a cookie, you know, like see how it took a second to fall off the fork? Then we will put it on top of our crumble and then we'll pop it in the oven. The cooking time is really gonna depend how big of a baking dish that you're doing. So obviously I'm doing a mini one with less ingredients. I am going to start this around 18 minutes. Just keep an eye on it. We wanna see when it gets nice and golden brown. As I'm putting away ingredients, I realized I totally forgot to use my vanilla bean paste. But if you have vanilla bean or vanilla extract, you can add, I would say like 1/2 teaspoon, just a tiny amount to the top of the crumble when you're adding the coconut oil and the maple syrup. But if you don't have it, you can skip it. It was still, I took a little taste test and it's very tasty without too. While we're waiting for that, I'm really hungry. So let's make a quick protein smoothie. I'm gonna use the new protein powder that I have. It's vanilla chai is the flavor because I feel like that's a very fall flavor. I've tried it with the blueberry and I've shared that in a video, but I'm gonna try it with some cherries today and we'll see how that tastes. Let's do it. It's a smoothie, you don't want that, right? Oh, this is really good. It's very light. The ginger from the vanilla chai is just like a fun brightness to it. So definitely recommend. Right, Stell? Right? We're looking really, really good. It smells amazing. It's starting to brown on the top. This is all gonna depend on your oven, how hot your oven is, and you put it in, what baking dish you're using. I always keep an eye on it because you just never know. It looks really, really good, and it's getting that light golden brown. I want it a tiny bit crispier, so I'm gonna do 2 more minutes. But you wanna keep an eye on it because you definitely don't want the top to burn. Oh my gosh, it looks so, so good. I had to bring it over here in the sun so you could get the full effect, but I feel like I should be curled up eating this, watching Gilmore Girls. I can already tell that I could have baked it for a little bit longer. If it's getting too brown on the top, just put a piece of like aluminum foil on the top so that it doesn't burn. So good. This is exactly what I was craving. The apples are good because they're not too soft. They still have like a tiny bit of crisp bite to them. Just perfect. I want to talk a little bit about the fall reset and do a little bit of goal planning, journaling, getting back on track. Fall for me is a really good opportunity to kind of see where you're at throughout the year so far. I think it's a really good opportunity to take a moment and say, what was I hoping to accomplish this year? What have I accomplished so far? Do I need to pivot? Like, what's most important to me? Has anything changed? And just see where you're at, check in with yourself. I think that the most important thing if you do this is to remind yourself that you can't do everything. I feel like sometimes we get so overwhelmed to the point of, what do we call it? Analysis paralysis, where there are just so many things that I want to do and they're not prioritized properly and they all feel like equal importance in my mind. So then I do nothing because it's so hard to decide where to start. As you're doing this, what I would challenge yourself to think about is feel free to freeform. Go ahead and write down everything. And then you need to go back through and really, really prioritize so that you know yourself, like if it comes down to I have time and I can only do number 1 or number 2, I'm gonna do number 1. That's what I'm personally hoping to achieve through some journaling and goal planning. I will share a little bit of my own once I'm done with it. Okay, let's talk through some of these. When I started, I was thinking through different category ideas just to like get my brain going. And I wanted to share those with you. I was thinking like fitness, finance, family, home, career, self-care, health, nutrition, organization. Those are just some things that were top of mind for me. Definitely other categories that you can think about too, depending on your own life and your own goals. A couple of the things that I've jotted down for myself are planning my workout days. What I mean by this is I'm a creature of habit. I am a Virgo rising, and if you know anything about Virgo rising for horoscopes, it's that we love organization. I need to lean into that for myself. I already have, when I go in person for Pilates on Monday and Tuesday, I schedule those out on the calendar. It's not a question. If I'm going, I just go. What I'm trying to do now is work on the rest of my days of the week when I'm at home. Like Wednesday, I am trying to make my day to do the sauna and maybe stretching. And then Thursday, which is today, I want to do more weightlifting, which is what I did. So I put that on the calendar and I'm trying to stay committed to that. I'm still figuring out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, what works best for me. I want to make sure that I have at least an idea of what I want to do to make sure that I'm getting in weights a couple of times throughout the week, stretching, sauna, Pilates, all the different things that help me keep my mind and my body in a really good place. Next, I did a zoom out to what I want to accomplish this year. One of them being I grind my teeth so bad. I've done it since I had teeth. Recently, I've been trying to be a detective, basically, to find out where this is stemming from. That's one of my goals, is to lessen my teeth grinding, or hopefully stop my teeth grinding. I want to make some more progress on that. Another one of mine is YouTube, which is this, obviously. I want to dedicate more time to YouTube, and I want to get to the point where I'm sharing at least one video a week. That is my goal and what I am working towards. Hopefully you guys can help hold me to that. Another thing that came up was just decluttering in general. I love organization. I hate clutter. I don't like things in our house that we don't use, that we don't need. It just stresses me out visually to see things like that. I have like a bag that I keep in the car whenever I want to do donations. I'm trying to be better about keeping one in my closet too. And I'm also trying to implement every time something new comes in my closet, I take something out. A couple other things, self-care. I really want to start setting days on the calendar for self-care, because I think the things you're doing daily or weekly are the things that make the biggest impact. So every Sunday night, for example, now I'm putting on my calendar time to do a hair mask that I leave in overnight. And then when I wash my hair on Monday morning, it's just an added benefit that it's helping with hair growth. It's helping with a healthy scalp. The cool thing about that is it's so much compounding, where if you're doing something every single week, that is, 52 times out of the year that you are doing something, and that makes a really big difference. And I know I will see a difference in my hair, which is really cool. The last couple I wanted to mention, one is outfits and like my own styles. I know the things I reach for in my closet the most, and yet still I keep things that I have not worn. And we all do this, right? Where we're like, oh, I might need that for this type of occasion one day. There are just certain things that I think even if I needed it, I wouldn't really want to wear that because it's just not my style anymore and it's not who I am. I would like to get rid of some of that stuff, let it go, donate it, give it to friends if it's their style. Just like lean in more of who my style is now that I am in my 30s. I am 30 years old, and I feel like I want it to be a little bit more refined, elegant. The last thing I wanted to mention is I love to paint. It's something I've been trying to get back into, and I have a huge canvas that I want to do another painting for our bedroom, so I really want to make some time for that. If you are visual, I feel like this is a great time to create a vision board. I have been doing those for years. I like to do typically a yearly one, and my biggest advice for this is similar to what I was saying earlier. That would be to edit it. I love to create a Pinterest board and put everything, just start pinning over the course of like a week or two, everything that is inspiring and aligns with what I want to have my life look like in the next year or so. And then I go through there and I edit it. So I only pull the things that are really, really speaking to me and really aligned from that selection. Because when I used to do this, I think my first vision board, I had like 40, I don't even know. I had like maybe 40 to 60 images on there. And it didn't really help that much because I had all these quotes, all these images, whatever. And it was like, there's too much going on, right? You can't even focus on it. What I have done over the years is they're the same size, but they have gotten less and less and less images. So my one from last year, for example, that I still have up, that one has more like 15 images on it. And I think the next one will have even less, honestly. I've learned that really successful people just focus on less things so that they can go really deep on them. Because if you spread yourself too thin, like if I am trying to do a million things and do them really, really well, It's like that saying, master of none. You know, you're doing decently at everything, but you're not really mastering anything, and you're not really having that level of success or moving the needle like you want to. That's not to say you can't do multiple things, but I think as much as you can, stay in your own lane and stay really focused on a few key things and know what your priorities are. And just like really ask yourself, sometimes when I look back, I keep my old vision boards, and I've looked back and I've seen things on them and I've been like, you know what? I actually didn't want that. It was more like I thought I wanted that because I saw someone I admired had it. We are influenced so much nowadays in that we see so much of other people's lives with social media, and often like parts that are not real or just the highlights. And sometimes we think, oh, we need to have a certain thing or car or bag, or life has to look a certain way to be happy and to be successful. What I would recommend for this is, as much as you can, dig inwards. Yes, I recommended using Pinterest, for example, but like if you feel like that's gonna influence you too much, maybe even write a list first, like what we're doing of what are your goals and what is most important to you and anything that calls to you. And then you can use Pinterest to go find visuals. Really listen to yourself. Don't ask yourself like, what do other successful people have, or other flashy people have, or people on Selling Sunset, like what clothes do they have? Don't ask yourself that. Ask yourself, what does my ideal life look like? Which for me, for example, is peaceful. Like that's something I've really been leaning into, is I want my life to be more peaceful. And what does my day look like? What do I do? What type of clothes do I wear? What's important to me? All of that. Those are the questions you should ask yourself. But yeah, it is really fun to definitely have a vision board, and I would recommend using Canva to put all the pictures once you have them, or quotes, whatever it may be. Then I get it printed personally because I really love putting it in my closet really big where I can see it. I print it on a poster, but you can also just put it on like your computer background, you know, on your desktop or your phone background, for example, wherever you will be able to see it. Feeling good about this little reset mentally. Sometimes it just helps to talk this stuff out, give yourself a little moment and a reset to get back aligned. So now what I want to do is we are going to tidy up a bit. The kitchen is a little messy, and then we are going to add some fall touches around the house. I'm so excited. It feels so much better in here now that everything is tidied a little bit, cleaned up, decluttered. It just feels a lot better in our living space and kitchen down here. I wanted to show you guys real quick. I often get asked which candles I use because I only use non-toxic candles that don't have fragrances. They just have essential oils. So there are two brands that I personally like. One is Sabbath. This is a newer brand, small business. It smells so nice. I have the scent Buttermint. And then my longtime favorite, this is by Fontana. I just love them. It smells amazing. The cinnamon orange clove is so good for fall. And also it's just coconut oil, beeswax, sweet orange, cinnamon, and clove essential oils, which I love. It's just so good. Like, I'm not sketched out by breathing that in, which is really nice because I just don't want to light candles in my home if it's, you know, gonna mess with my hormones or cause me to have a headache or anything like that. Highly recommend those two. Thanks so much for joining me as we did a little fall reset. I feel really nice that even though it's 90 something degrees outside and it's quite hot, I am getting myself ready for fall and for this time of the year and just like mentally checking in. I think that's always a really good practice to do for yourself, and it's definitely worth the time. And it's fun to do it while you have a little fall baked good. If you're like me and it's just too hot, just pretend that it's fall. Get a candle, get an apple crisp, apple crumble, and you will feel the fall vibes. I hope that you're feeling that too, and I hope that this inspired you to maybe work on some of your goal planning, maybe tidy up and declutter a bit. Just think about how you want the rest of the year to be, especially before we go into the holidays, because I know the holidays can be kind of crazy when you get towards the end of November and December. I feel like it's such a nice time to give yourself. Take advantage of that and enjoy it and really lean into it. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button below so you don't miss out on any of my new videos. I'll see you in my next one.